First of all, I do not agree with you with the statement that our life is destined by astrology. It's the same as if you would say, like, is it true that TV is conditioned by everything that is written in its instruction? Like, it's not. Instruction is a secondary thing, right? It just explains how it works. It's not the vice versa. Same with astrology, pretty much. Astrology allows you to read what are your karmas, your strengths, your weaknesses, and possibilities out there. But astrology in its own, it's not limiting you, it's not conditioning you. Krishna says quite clearly in the Gita that what conditions you are the three gunas. And also your likes and dislikes, which can be read from astrology. And your likes and dislikes, as you can imagine, are sometimes very difficult to change. If I would tell you right now, let's say that you like strawberries, stop liking them. Can you do that? If not, then where is the free will, right? This is why Lord Krishna says quite clearly in the Gita by what we are conditioned. And we are conditioned specifically by the gunas. In fact, we were talking about it on our ongoing journey with Bhagavad Gita. And this is something I would really recommend for all of you to take, because it doesn't take much effort from you. It's donation basis, so it's a free and open course for everyone. But you can learn a lot, and you can find a lot of answers to questions like that in the Gita itself. On the very last session which taken place this Saturday, we were actually talking about chapter 3. And in chapter 3 of the Gita, verse 5, Krishna says very, very openly, no one can remain still even for a moment without performing action. Everyone is helplessly forced to act by the gunas born from material nature. Notice the word helplessly, right? Why? Because the gunas, pretty much, as long as we are, as long as we don't regain certain amount of our personal freedom through meditation and sadhana, are pretty much enslaving us. You cannot choose which guna is predominant in you in different times or moments. And those very gunas are going to predetermine also your likes and dislikes. And during the last class on the Gita, I was trying to explain that how something as simple as our likes and dislikes, desire and aversion, literally create your destiny. This is your destiny, that comes from your own limitations of your own mind. And to illustrate that, we were using this metaphor of a beautiful forest. Imagine that you are in a beautiful forest, huge forest with lots of really beautiful, magical things in it. Yeah. So then normally, if you would have complete freedom, complete free will, you enter that forest and you just roam around, explore it. But with likes and dislikes, it's different. Because it's like you enter this forest, you don't really like something on your right side, there's a dislike, something you would rather turn away from, so you turn left. It's like a road sign that tells you, turn left. Then you feel drawn to something else, tells you turn right. And you keep going like this, left and right, sometimes straight, left, right, straight. If you only follow, these road signs, how do you think, how much of this forest you will be able to actually see? Not much, right? This is why, certain will we certainly do have. But it's not a free will, it's a conditioned will. It's conditioned by our gunas, it's conditioned by our likes and dislikes. Many gurus, many saints very often compare our will to that of a cow tied on a rope to a tree. You certainly have freedom when it comes to, where do you want to go in that radius, but you can't go beyond that because there's a certain limit. So the gunas, as well as our likes and dislikes, they're conditioning us, therefore. And this is what you can read from chart. These are these types of conditionings that we are reading through. And in fact, I would like to read you one more proof from the Gita, which very beautifully, illustrates that point. So at the very end of the Gita, in chapter 18, when basically Krishna already showed to Arjuna his cosmic form, and Arjuna has fair understanding already how things are working, but he's still doubting. Should he fight? Should he not? And then in verse 59, Krishna says to Arjuna, if you give in to pride and think, I will not fight, your resolve will be futile, for your own nature will compel you to act. O Arjuna, out of illusion you do not wish to fight, but bound by the duty born from your own nature, you will be compelled to do so. The Lord abides in the heart of every being, Arjuna. By his powers, he controls all their movements through life, as if they were seated on the machine. So if you look into the scriptures, they don't have much hope in our free will, to put it that way. They don't have much faith in our free will. And this is because it's true, we are conditioned by our own nature, by the gunas that come from that nature, by our likes and dislikes. They are shaping and forming our destiny. And we are not always at liberty to change them. In fact, if you think about most of the factors in life, you actually can't change them. They already are the way they are. And you can either accept it or not. But now, there is something that can interfere with your destiny. That's for sure. And that's God's grace or Guru's grace. This is the only factor that actually can change your destiny, to a certain extent, of course, to the extent to which it will still remain aligned with God's will for your life. When God's grace or Guru's grace enters your life, it can save you from many dangers, it can save you from many things. But the thing is, you cannot do anything to make that happen, because God's grace or Guru's grace, by its very definition, is causeless, it's unconditional. There is no material deed that you as individual can do to make it happen. God will choose to give you the grace or not, that's His will. Perhaps if you show Him that you are ready, it will come, but you will never have, 100% certainty. It's not a business, that we are doing here. So true, God's grace or Guru's grace can save person from many calamities. This is why you see, in reality, that's the only thing that can bypass, you could say, those limitations that come from our own nature when we receive grace. And of course, again, when we talk about Guru's grace, we mean a God-realized master, not just a mere teacher. Because the saints, the self-realized souls, God-realized souls, they are already free, from that, from these likes and dislikes and gunas. They don't bind them anymore. They are actually free, We are not free, they are. And because they are free, they are capable also to interfere to a certain extent with individuals' karma and alleviate it, help a person. So it's not that everything 100%, is there, written in the stars. And whenever, we talk about this and whenever we talk about free will, I always really like, to bring on the perspective that one Polish psychologist, Wojciech Eichelberger, brought, and I think it's a very good way to look at Jyotish, a very healthy way to look at it. It's like you are playing cards with the universe. God is giving you certain cards, or universe is giving you certain set of cards, and you have no influence whatsoever of what the quality of these cards is going to be, because guess what? This is already predetermined by your own karma. But you certainly have certain amount of free will as to how you are going to play with those cards. So this is a good way to look at it, I would say. Even though if you would like to go even higher, towards that perspective, ultimately, even if you are a good player or not, it's already written in your chart, Ultimately, everything is there. But with the power of your own effort, you can change things. You just need to be aware that, as Paramahansa Yogananda nicely said, that if we want to fight our own destiny, it takes a lot of effort. And most people don't have that willpower to actually fight it. So it's up to you, basically speaking.